I'm leaving you for your alpha brother. That's what she said, in front of my entire family. At my parents' funeral, I still remember how her voice didn't shake, how her eyes stayed locked on mine while Logan, my brother, stood right beside her with that smug look he's worn since high school. Sierra didn't whisper it, didn't pull me aside. She wanted everyone to hear. And then she added, like a nail driven into my chest, "So just sign the papers. You don't deserve the inheritance anyway." I was holding the pen. My hand didn't move. We were standing next to my mother's casket, my father's urn, surrounded by flowers and fake condolences. People were still crying. And Sierra, my wife of 12 years, chose that moment to burn everything down. I should have seen it coming. But this was a goddamn ambush. Logan leaned in, his voice low and poison smooth. "You know I've always been better than you, little brother. Let's stop pretending otherwise." My ears were ringing. I felt like I'd been dropped into a dream, or a nightmare. I wanted to scream, to punch someone, to disappear, but I didn't. I just stared at the two people who'd buried a blade in my back and smiled while twisting it. Then the lawyer, Mr. Wallace, stepped forward. That old man must have felt the heat coming off my face because he cleared his throat fast. "There's something in the will," he said, flipping open a folder. "An additional clause you'll want to hear before signing anything." Sierra rolled her eyes. "This is ridiculous. Just give Logan what he's owed." Wallace raised an eyebrow. "As you wish. But I'm simply following the late Mr. and Mrs. Carter's final instructions." He glanced down and read the clause. "In the event that either son's spouse engages in adultery with a family member," he began, "the faithful son shall receive the full inheritance. The other shall receive nothing." Silence. Complete, brutal silence. Sierra's lips parted. Her bravado cracked. Logan looked like he'd just been hit by a freight train. "Wait," she said. "You can't." Wallace cut her off without even blinking. "That was your father's condition, and he was very clear about it." I didn't say a word, just looked at both of them as the blood drained from their faces. Sierra tried to recover. "You're really going to let this technicality, take everything from us?" Us. Like she and Logan were already a unit. Like I was the intruder. I leaned forward slowly, calm now. "Cold. You two deserve each other," I said. "But you don't deserve a cent of what Mom and Dad built." And then I pulled out my phone. Because what Sierra didn't know was that 3 weeks earlier, I'd installed cameras in our lake house. The one she visited when she said she needed space. What she also didn't know, the video was already uploaded to a private drive, titled Sierra and Logan_weekend on MP4. And I hadn't even pressed play yet. Logan's face turned a sick shade of gray the second he saw the phone in my hand. Sierra's mouth opened, but no sound came out, just the soft crackle of her perfect image crumbling in real time. I didn't even need to play the video yet. Just letting them know it existed was enough. The fear in their eyes told me everything. "You recorded us?" she whispered, stepping toward me like a ghost. "You spied on me?" I met her gaze without blinking. "No, I caught you. There's a difference." She looked around the church like someone might come to her rescue, but all she saw were stiff backs and silent stares. My aunt turned away. My cousin shook his head. No one was on her side anymore. I swiped my thumb across the screen slowly, just to mess with her nerves. The thumbnail showed her in a robe, sitting on Logan's lap on the back deck. Her hand was in his hair. His hand was up her thigh. "You're bluffing," Logan said suddenly, stepping in. "You didn't record anything." "Sure," I said, holding it up so only he could see. "Just like I imagined her moaning your name under my parents' wedding photos." He flinched. Sierra lunged forward, trying to snatch the phone. I stepped back. "Ah," I said calmly, like I was talking to a toddler about to break a lamp. "You already broke enough, sweetheart." The lawyer, bless that man, just stood there like he was watching HBO. He didn't say a word. Didn't need to. "What do you want, Ryan?" she snapped. The mask was back. Cold. Nasty. "You think this changes anything? Fine. You get the inheritance. Big deal. You'll still be alone." I laughed, an actual laugh, bitter and sharp. "I've been alone, Sierra, for years. You were just a body in the house. A lie in a dress." That one landed. Her eyes flashed with rage. "You ungrateful piece of—" "Don't." I cut her off, voice low. "You cheated. You betrayed me. You humiliated me at my parents' funeral. You don't get to cry victim now." Logan reached out, putting a hand on her arm like he could calm the storm. She jerked away from him. "Oh, that was interesting. You used me." she said suddenly, voice cracking. Not at me, at him. You said he wouldn't find out. My eyebrows lifted. So it was planned? She froze. Logan looked at her like she'd just shot him in the leg. You told me he knew. That he didn't care anymore. Because you wouldn't have touched me otherwise? She fired back, venomous. Don't act like you didn't enjoy every second, Logan. The room went dead quiet again. The pastor coughed awkwardly in the back. I stepped between them. Let me help clear this up, I said, raising my phone again. I'll just play it. Let the whole room watch what betrayal looks like in 4K. Sierra's hand flew to her mouth. Logan backed away. No, she said. Please. Ryan. You what? I asked. You're sorry? You love me? You made a mistake? She blinked rapidly. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Right? I nodded. You were just playing house with my brother while I was planning my parents' burial. Got it. The lawyer finally spoke. Mr. Carter, it appears the clause is in your favor. I'll begin the transfer paperwork today. I looked at Logan. You broke my nose when we were 16 because I beat you at wrestling. You're not alpha. You're just an insecure coward who hides behind my wife's skirt. Then I turned to Sierra. And you. I paused, steadying my breath. You're going to lose a lot more than a husband. She looked like she wanted to spit. I thought she might slap me. But she didn't. She stormed out, heels echoing like gunshots down the marble floor. Logan followed after her, muttering something I didn't care to hear. The phone in my hand buzzed. Notification from the drive. File Sierra Logan enters for weekend.mp4 has been accessed. I hadn't even pressed play, but someone else just did. And that was the moment everything started spinning faster than I could have imagined. Because Sierra wasn't done. Not even close. She was just getting started. I found out later that night that the video had been leaked. Not by me. Someone at the funeral, probably one of the cousins who saw the screen over my shoulder, snapped a picture of the video thumbnail. Within hours, it was making the rounds in a private family group chat. And from there, it spread like wildfire. Sierra and Logan didn't even make it out of the city before the whispers turned into storms. By morning, my phone had 27 missed calls and 8 voicemails. Some from Sierra, some from Logan. One from Sierra's mother, calling me a vindictive little man for airing family matters like dirty laundry. Funny, I don't remember sleeping with my own brother and tanking a marriage at a funeral. But sure, I'm the villain. I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I got in my truck and drove to the lake house. The same place they used to sneak off to behind my back. I needed to see it. Needed to stand where they stood, touch the rail where Logan's hand had slid up her thigh. I wanted to feel the betrayal physically, like a bruise I could press just to remind myself it was real. When I got there, the house was exactly as I left it, clean, quiet, fake. The sheets were still unwashed. The wine glasses still on the porch table. A single earring lay on the nightstand, Sierra's, the expensive ones I gave her for our 10th anniversary. I guess she didn't even bother to clean up the crime scene. I sat on the edge of the bed they used. Just sat there, the weight of everything pressing into my spine. And then I did something I hadn't done since it happened. I cried. Not loudly. Not with fists against the wall. Just silent, full body shaking. The kind of cry that doesn't need sound because your soul is doing all the screaming. I stayed there for hours. Didn't eat. Didn't check my phone. Just sat in it. At some point, I realized it wasn't sadness anymore. It had turned into something colder. Sharper. Resolve. Because Sierra and Logan weren't crawling away to start some happy ever after life. No. They were about to find out what it means to betray the wrong man. The next morning, I finally answered a call. Sierra. Her voice was sweet at first. Scared. Desperate. Ryan, please. You humiliated me. It's everywhere now, and people are saying horrible things. I didn't respond. I didn't want to hurt you, she continued. It just happened, okay? You were always so distracted. Distant. I felt invisible. So you made me feel disposable? I said calmly. Silence. Then she flipped. You think you're so righteous? You're pathetic. You were never enough. You don't satisfy, you don't challenge, you just exist. I almost laughed. There it is, I said. There's the real you. You're not the only one who can play dirty, she hissed. I know things too, Ryan. I know about the finances. The second account. The old debts. You think I can't bury you? That's when I realized something important. She wasn't hurt. She was cornered. And people like Sierra? They don't cry when they lose love. They cry when they lose control. So I gave her one last piece of information. I moved everything out of joint accounts a week ago, I said. The prenup is solid. You cheated. That's all the judge needs. You're bluffing, she snapped. Try me. I hung up. She didn't call back. 2 hours later, Logan texted me. We need to talk. Face to face. I replied with a location. Not the lake house. Not the church. Not even the family lawyer's office. I told him to meet me at our dad's garage. The one where we spent our childhoods rebuilding engines and throwing wrenches at each other when we got mad. Felt poetic. When I pulled up, he was already there, leaning against the same rusted-out truck we never finished. The place hadn't changed in 20 years. Logan looked like hell. Unshaven. Eyes red. Probably hadn't slept. He looked like someone who realized too late that he'd torched his only bridge home. I didn't mean for it to get this far, he said. It just happened. That phrase again. The ultimate coward's anthem. You took my wife, I said. You helped her lie to me. You both used me. And now you want forgiveness. I want to fix it, he said. You can't. Logan stepped forward. Then hit me. Do what you gotta do. Get it out. I stared at him. At the man who used to be my hero when we were kids. The one I used to follow around like a shadow. Then I stepped back. No, I said. You don't get my anger. You don't deserve it. He blinked. Then what do I get? I met his eyes. Calm. Final. Nothing. And I left him there, standing in our father's shadow. Just like always. I expected silence after that. But Sierra wasn't the type to go down quietly. Not even close. 2 days later, I came home to find the locks changed on my own house. Our house. Except now, her car was parked in the driveway like it belonged to a queen, and mine was out on the curb like the help. She'd filed a false report claiming I'd become unhinged since the funeral, said I was emotionally unstable and possibly violent. Told the cops I had a temper. I didn't even argue. I just stood on the porch, holding a bag of groceries in one hand and my lawyer's number in the other, while she smirked at me through the glass. The nerve. The boldness. After everything. She opened the door halfway, still in one of my t-shirts, probably to make it look like I was the one who left. You need to leave, she said, dead serious. The police know about your threats. Try anything, and I swear. I laughed, right in her face. You're calling me a threat? You sabotaged our marriage, slept with my brother, humiliated me in front of my entire family, and now you're playing the scared victim? She leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed like she was posing for a courtroom drama. You're unraveling, Ryan. This isn't a good look. Maybe if you'd been a man during our marriage, none of this would have happened. That's when I realized she actually believed her own lies. She'd rewritten the story in her head to make herself the martyr, the hero of her own little tragedy. Enjoy the house, I said, turning away. Because soon enough, you'll have nowhere left to run. She slammed the door behind me. 2 hours later, I was sitting in my lawyer's office going over the footage again, not the video from the lake house. No, this one was better. Security cam footage from our garage, recorded months ago. It showed Logan using my laptop. The same laptop where Sierra's emails were logged in. The same day her messages to a mystery lover got deleted in bulk. The metadata lined up perfectly. Proof of intent. Proof of collusion. And guess what? That footage had just been accepted as evidence in the divorce case. My lawyer smiled. We're not just talking alimony anymore. With this, we go for everything. It was the first time I'd felt something close to peace since the funeral. Until my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. Just a picture. Sierra. In a hospital bed. Caption. You win. Hope you're happy. For a second, my heart sank. I didn't know what was real anymore. Was it manipulation? Was she faking something for sympathy? Trying to tank the court case? But then the second message came in. From her sister. She OD'd on anxiety meds. She's stable now. But she's saying you drove her to this. There it was. The final move in her playbook. Guilt. It hit me hard. Harder than I wanted to admit. Because for all her venom, for all the ways she destroyed me, part of me still remembered the girl I married. The one who used to laugh with her whole body. The one who cried when her father died. The one I held through 2 miscarriages. That girl was gone. But the ghost of her still haunted me. I didn't respond. Didn't visit. Didn't reach out. Because I finally understood, Sierra wasn't a mistake. She was a lesson. A brutal one. But a necessary one. And I had one final card to play. Logan had just lost his job. Not because of me. Because one of the board members at his firm had seen the video. Turns out the man's daughter was at the funeral and uploaded the clip anonymously. The man made one phone call, and Logan was escorted out of his office by security the next morning. The great Alpha reduced to a whisper. I heard he's crashing on a friend's couch now. Broke. Unemployed. Alone. Sierra? She checked herself out of the hospital a week later. Tried to reach me again, this time with apologies, tears, and Bible quotes. I blocked her. And when the court finalized the divorce, I didn't show up in person. I sent a courier. Inside the envelope was my signature, a small stack of settlement papers, and a single sticky note that read, "Real queens don't sleep with pawns." No response. Just silence. Finally, a few weeks passed. The dust had mostly settled, but the silence wasn't peaceful. It was dense, charged, like the air before a storm. I'd moved into a small apartment across town. Nothing special. One bedroom, a couch that was too stiff, a bed that was too soft. But it was mine. It didn't smell like her perfume, didn't echo with her voice. And for now, that was enough. I kept things simple. Woke up early, worked late. Went to the gym more than I should have. Ate standing up. Avoided mirrors. The worst part? Nights. Nights had a way of opening doors you locked during the day. I'd lie awake staring at the ceiling, remembering the little things. Her laugh in the passenger seat. The way she'd text me from the grocery store like we were still dating. The time I got sick and she stayed up rubbing my back until I fell asleep. Were those memories even real? Or just well-practiced scenes from a woman who always had one foot out the door? One night, I cracked. I opened an old drive, one I hadn't touched since before all this. Inside were hundreds of photos. Trips, holidays, blurry selfies. Sierra with flour on her nose from baking. Logan holding our dog like a baby. Me smiling. It felt like watching strangers play house. I deleted every photo with her in it. Not out of hate. Out of mercy. For myself. The next morning, my lawyer called with news. The judge had ruled in my favor. Full asset protection. House returned to me. Sierra awarded nothing beyond what she brought into the marriage, which, legally, was close to zero. No spousal support. No appeals. No pity. She tried everything. Emotional pleas. Fabricated threats. Even a fake pregnancy claim. We had the lab results to prove the lie. And Logan? He wasn't in court at all. He'd skipped town 2 nights prior. Packed up what was left of his pride and drove south. No forwarding address. No goodbye. That afternoon, I returned to the house. It was empty. Not just of furniture, of soul. I stood in the middle of the living room where we'd once slow danced on anniversaries, and all I could hear was the hollow echo of betrayal. Her shadow lingered in the corners like a bad smell. There was a single envelope on the kitchen counter. Handwritten. No stamp. No name. I opened it. Inside was a photograph. A picture of her and me, taken years ago, on a bench in New Orleans. She was laughing at something I'd said, and I was looking at her like she hung the stars. On the back, she'd written, "I was happy once. I don't know why I ruined it. I hope someday you can forget who I became and remember who I was." It should have meant something, but all I felt was tired. You see, apologies are bandages, and some wounds shouldn't be bandaged. They should be left open long enough to understand how deep they go. I burned the letter in the fireplace that night. Watched the flame curl her handwriting into smoke. And that was the moment I knew I'd survived her. Not just the betrayal. Not just the lies. Her. She had no more grip on me. No more power. No more place in my future. But before I moved on, before I let that chapter close, I left one final mark. I scheduled a listing for the house. Market price. Cash offers only. And the first showing was to a young couple expecting their first child. They walked through the halls holding hands, whispering dreams, planning their forever. I handed them the keys with a steady hand and a clean conscience. Because I wasn't just selling a house. I was burying a ghost. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I walked away whole. 2 months passed. My life became strangely quiet. No chaos. No drama. Just the soft hum of normalcy, like a song I'd forgotten how to enjoy. The apartment started feeling like home. I bought a used leather chair from a neighbor down the hall, the kind you sink into and don't get up from for hours. I put up a few photos, none of people, just places I'd been. I cooked dinner for myself without feeling the need to make extra. And I started sleeping again. Dreamless sleep. The kind that lets your bones rest. But then, out of nowhere, she showed up again. It was a Saturday. I was walking back from the cafe with a black coffee in one hand and a bag of croissants in the other when I saw her standing by my car. "Sierra," Sunglasses. Long coat. Same perfume. Always too sweet, like fake roses in a funeral home. I need to talk, she said. I didn't move. There's nothing left to talk about. She stepped forward, taking off her glasses. Her eyes were bloodshot, like she hadn't slept in days. I'm pregnant, she said. The words dropped between us like a bomb. I didn't flinch. Whose? She blinked. What? You heard me, I said. Who's the father? She hesitated. A crack in the mask. I don't know. And just like that, whatever shred of sympathy I'd held for her vanished. You lied about this before, I said coldly. What makes you think I'd believe you now? Because this time it's real, she whispered, trying to sound fragile. But I'd seen this act. Hell, I'd lived with it for over a decade. And I wasn't buying front-row tickets again. Then go to him, I said. Let Logan play daddy. Her face twisted. He's gone. He left me. Said it was all a mistake. Sounds like the smartest thing he's ever done. She took a shaky breath. I have no one. I looked at her for a long moment. The woman who once held my heart now looked like a stranger wrapped in desperation. That's what betrayal does, I said. It leaves you empty. She opened her mouth, maybe to beg, maybe to lash out, but I walked past her. I got in my car, pulled out of the lot, and didn't look back. Later that week, her sister called. She's not doing well, she said. She's completely alone. I'm not responsible for her anymore, I replied. You don't have to be cruel. I'm not, I said. I'm being honest. I hung up. Because the truth is, Sierra wasn't just a mistake I made. She was a mirror I had to break to see my real reflection. That weekend, I drove to the mountains. Just me, the road, and silence. I stayed in a quiet cabin by a lake. No signal, no noise, no ghosts. I chopped wood. I cooked over fire. I journaled. First time I wrote in years. It wasn't about her. It was about me. About how I let myself disappear in a relationship that only looked perfect from the outside. About how I ignored my instincts. How I let love become a leash. I stayed 3 days. And when I left, I wasn't carrying her anymore. The final piece broke off when I saw a group of hikers passing by. A couple was holding hands, laughing about burning the marshmallows. I smiled, not out of envy, just gratitude. Gratitude that I'd been through the fire and come out with skin intact. Back in town, I opened my inbox. A message from Logan. Subject, I owe you. I didn't open it. Some stories don't need sequels. Some people don't need closure. Just distance. So I deleted the email. Blocked the address. Then I made a new rule for my life. Only make space for people who don't have to lie to stay close. And I've kept that promise. Because survival isn't just about moving on. It's about knowing exactly what you'll never tolerate again. It happened on a Tuesday, quiet, cold, the kind of day that used to pass without meaning. But this one didn't. I was sitting at my usual cafe, same corner table, black coffee going cold, when a stranger approached. Mid-30s, kind eyes, real smile. She asked if the seat across from me was taken. I hesitated, then shook my head. Her name was Claire. She ordered tea. Said she came here often, but always noticed I sat alone. We talked about nothing at first. Books, traffic, bad weather. It felt real. No games. No masks. Just two people being people. And somewhere between her laughing at my story about burning Thanksgiving dinner and me realizing I wasn't thinking about Sierra anymore, I understood something. I was okay. Not just alive. Whole. Because healing doesn't come in loud moments. It comes quietly, in small sips of peace. In strangers who remind you that not everyone will lie to you. In days that don't hurt. In mornings where you wake up and forget to feel broken. I never replied to Logan's messages. Never saw Sierra again. Last I heard, she moved out of state. Started fresh, or tried to. I don't wish her well. I don't wish her harm either. I wish her far away from me. People ask sometimes if I'd ever trust again. I tell them this. You don't need to trust someone blindly to love again. You just need to trust yourself to walk away the moment they give you a reason. So here's what I learned. If they mock your kindness, leave. If they make you question your own worth, leave. If they ever make you feel like you're lucky to have them while treating you like a backup plan, walk. And don't look back. You're not hard to love. You just gave your heart to a fraud. Now take it back and build something better.